We really want to stay on a strict monthly food budget. My husband and I have sat down and done the numbers, and I am determined to save about $400 per month on our grocery bill. I'm doing this by shopping more at Costco, and for items that I can't get at Costco, I'm ordering them in bulk from a farm that ships meat specifically. Anyway, I just did a video detailing everything I got from Costco last week and where I buy my meat, etc. So you can check that out. I will leave a link below if you want to see it. I have a few specific tips for saving money on groceries and meal prepping that I'm going to share in this video today. I'm a mom of two, and my husband works from home, so I prepare 3 meals per day for 2 hungry adults, a child, and although my baby doesn't eat food yet, I eat for him, if you know what I mean. Point being that we eat a lot of food, even though it is just 4 people right now, and we do eat all 3 meals at home every day. So my first tip is to be adventurous with your soups. Here I'm making my own version of an Italian zuppa toscana soup, which is traditionally made with sausage, kale, potatoes, and beans, I believe. Today I have sausage, broccoli, and sweet potatoes, and I'm also throwing in some bacon we got from a farm who is now offering meats online. This recipe has a lot of prep work, just cutting the onion, garlic, potatoes, broccoli, adding sausage and bacon, but I'm making a whole bunch of it with the intention of freezing it. I love having at least one meal in the freezer I can pull out when the day is super busy. It allows me to go somewhere fun with my kids and not stress about having enough time to cook them a meal when I get back. I'm adding about 2 quarts of bone broth. One thing my husband and I talked about when we were talking about the budget was we really don't pay for snacks or separate meals for our kids. Pretty much I cook for our entire family every meal, and that's it, just one meal. And I do serve it differently to our toddler because she can be picky about how it's served to her, but she's eating the same food, it's just usually more a la carte. I'm adding about 2 quarts of homemade bone broth. You can see here that mine was frozen, but it'll cook down and into a soup nicely. This is a new soup I'm trying today, so I'm excited to see how it turns out, and it will freeze really well. My family absolutely loved it, and we have made it a few times since this recipe was filmed. My second tip is, going along with the soup theme, is to make your own bone broth. I've shared this on my channel a lot actually, but once you learn how to make your own broth, you will never go back to buying it. Simply place all your chicken, beef, whatever meat bones you want into a big pot with water and apple cider vinegar and let it sit for 12 to 24 hours on simmer, and you'll have an amazing and flavorful bone broth. I do that with a whole roasted chicken where I'm making the chicken for dinner and then I'm just throwing the bones that I already cooked in the pot. So it's no extra money or effort for me. Eating farm to table is still important to me. Nothing against Costco because obviously most of the ingredients you see me cooking here are from Costco, but I still like to do my research and know where the food is coming from. I try to buy local when possible and affordable. We do also collect eggs from our own chickens, which is finally starting back up now that the daylight is getting longer. When we get 2 to 3 eggs per day, it's very exciting for the whole family, and it does save us a little bit of money too.
I like some more.
For the next meal, I'm using this pre-cut butternut squash from Costco. This was really great to have around, especially on the busy days when I didn't have time to skin and cut a whole butternut squash. So I decided to make a butternut squash soup with added mushrooms, bacon, and sausage. It was a sinker and plunker, as I like to call it. I combined butternut squash, onion, and garlic with bone broth using an immersion blender, add my salt and pepper, and then add whatever I want inside. This is a traditional butternut squash soup recipe, only I'm beefing it up with meat and veggies. We are trying to use the mushrooms up from Costco first, since these are not likely to last long in the fridge. With our meat order, we had some steak bacon cuts and kielbasa sausage, so I sauteed those separately as well as the mushrooms. Once everything was all cooked, I chopped it up into bite-sized pieces and added it to the soup. I then served it with rice, which I also used the bone broth to make the rice. So many uses for bone broth, I'm realizing as I'm filming this. find that when we're talking about budget, it's hard to compare yourself to other people. If you ask Google how much a family of 4 should spend on food, their answer will probably surprise you. It's much lower than I expected, and it's a number that my family simply could not meet unless we were eating, really small meals like top ramen for every meal or something. Honestly, I think the guidance for a food budget is a little bit outdated. The cost of food has definitely gone up, and I also feel like the pandemic a few years ago caused many people to work from home, so their grocery bills went up because they were all of a sudden eating all 3 meals at home. I used to buy food on a per day basis. For example, I'd cook 2 steaks, pasta, and some fresh asparagus for my husband and I when we first got married. Because we both worked in an office all day, so we ate lunch out. Breakfast was something small, like eggs and toast, and all I had to think about was dinner. But now I think about meals in terms of bulk food and making bulk food stretch into several meals. Soups are a good way to do that because you can keep throwing ingredients in them. Also, you can freeze them easily and reheat them for another meal the next day. So my next big tip for saving money while shopping and cooking is to use flour and make your own bread products. Here I'm using my sourdough starter, which is homemade yeast, to create several different meals all at one time. I just happen to have 1 to 2 hours of free time right now while both of my kids are sleeping or having quiet time. So we bought the giant bags of flour at Costco, and I'm already through the first bag, so that's how much flour I use. So in one bowl I'm making regular sourdough bread, in another bowl I'm making 100% einkorn sourdough bread. I'll use this for French toast or snacking. In the next bowl I'm making einkorn English muffins. And lastly, in the fourth bowl, I'm making homemade pizza crust. Cooking can be really stressful at times, and I never thought I would say that. When I was working in the city of Seattle, and I was still dating my husband, I would pick up food at the farmer's market and cook it that day. I would look up recipes, watch cooking shows on TV, and I loved to create fine meals in my little apartment all by myself. But having kids changes that. And I don't want to sound negative here, but I myself am still trying to learn how to enjoy cooking with a toddler at your feet and a baby in your arms. There are times that it is so glorious and romantic because, let's be honest, my dream of being a mom and a wife was always greater than my dream of being a chef. But then there are times that I just so wish I could have a nice quiet kitchen where I could just get creative, wear my beautiful handmade apron, light a candle, and cook a meal for just my husband and me. So not trying to vent, but okay, I guess I was venting a little bit. Sometimes I look at social media and think that if a person can do something, I can too. But really, we have to not do that because the truth is that not everyone's circumstances, daily routines, lifestyles is just so different from one another that what works for one person really may not work for another. And so I'm just going to come out and say the unpopular thing, which is that cooking healthy, from scratch food on a budget and by yourself with 2 little kids is really hard. So if you're watching this and you're in the same boat as I am, I hope I can provide just a little bit of encouragement to you to say you're not alone and you're doing a great job. Anyway, back to the recipes. The point I'm making is that using sourdough to make several different bread doughs at one time actually makes cooking so much less stressful. It's kind of like having frozen microwavable meals in your freezer. It's an insurance policy, so if everyone's hungry and you're strapped for time to cook something, you have a dough right there waiting for you. And of course, it is way better than anything frozen. I have almost all these recipes over on my blog, duvallhomestead.com, so I'll leave links below to them. this last meal, I'm doing one last version of the Italian soup. We loved it. This time I'm using sausage, sweet potato, broccoli, and beans. If you ever find yourself with random food in your fridge or pantry and you don't know what to do with it, I found success with 2 ways to use it up. First way is you could just cook it separately, either on the stove or in the oven. Add olive oil, salt, seasoning, broth, whatever you need to do to give it a flavor and go that route. Another route is just add it to the soup. You can Google a recipe with just the ingredients you have, like sweet potato broccoli soup, and you'll find someone else has made a meal with that variation as well. So there's never a need to go to the store last minute if you think you don't have anything. If you have anything in your fridge or pantry, I promise there's a way to cook it up all together. Well, I hope you found some inspiration in this message and this video. I know I loved inviting you in my kitchen and sharing it with you all. It's so important to us to create budget-friendly meals, but also cook healthy from scratch for the family. If you're brand new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Every week I post a new video on farm-to-table recipes and homemade natural living, and I'd love for you to join along. Thank you so much for stopping by the Duvall Homestead.